Taylor Swift is living her best life on her Eras tour. So I thought it would be fun if we kind of went over the eras of online teaching so you could see where it started, where it's been, and kind of an idea of where it's going. Now, most of this will be focused on online ESL just because that was the original, but there will be some non online ESL thrown in there as well. So let's get to it. Hey, I'm online teacher Allison, and I help stay at home parents learn how to teach online so they can earn an income from home. Now, if you want to get started, I do have a quick freebie download for you to help match you to the best platform, whether it is ESL or non ESL. And that's at onlineteacherallison.com/platform. So, as I was researching for this, I did not realize online ESL is as old as it is. I might not have the best starting point because it wasn't quite Googleable. So I kind of had to research some companies I knew were really popular during the online ESL heyday. And I was actually really shocked by this. I thought VIPKid was one of the first ones because they always called themselves the pioneer. And, they might have pioneered it in the way that we know it now. But the first company that I saw founded was iTutor Group, and that was founded in 1998. And that shocked me because the internet was such a baby back in 1998. So I'm really curious what that looked like back then. I didn't keep going. I didn't dig any deeper. I just looked at the founding dates. And then we also have italki, which was founded in 2006. VIPKid founded in 2013. I'm looking at my notes over here. And Cambly was also founded in 2013. And I know Cambly is still going strong. VIPKid is trying. And I know that because I work pretty closely with those two. I don't know about iTutor Group and italki, where they are, but if you are interested in it, that would be something you could look up. And I would love it if you would let me know. So it was brand new back then. These were the pioneers of the online ESL world. And because everything was so new and because the internet was a baby, everyone thought it was a scam. I thought it was a scam. I actually made a video about it here. And I heard about VIPKid probably in 2015, 2016. And people told me, hey, apply. And I looked at it. I was like, this just sounds too good to be true. And that's the rule of thumb. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. And so I didn't apply. And another reason behind that was I was living in California at the time. And so the times I was working for VIPKid in 2018 and 19, I was actually in Texas and Oklahoma. So I was in the central time zone and I was working about 5 to 8 a.m. Now, if I was in California, the Pacific time zone, it would have been 3 to 6 a.m. And I just wasn't feeling that. And another reason was we were living in on-base housing and internet was just garbage. So those are all a bunch of reasons I didn't get into it originally. But one of them was because I felt like it was a scam. And it wasn't until I talked to someone through the church I had been a part of in high school. She does it. She did it. I don't know if she still does. And she recommended I do it, and she referred me. And so I felt a little more comfortable knowing it came from that kind of source rather than just like the internet and, oh, my mom's coworker's friend. That was just too many people, and I didn't know them to trust them. So they had a great heyday from about, 2015 to 2020. And, actually, a little more than that. 2020 was when the pandemic hit. And online education, online teaching blew up even more. So on top of the online ESL that we had all been comfortable with, that we had been doing it, and now was also into the school system. Schools were logging into Zoom. Students were from their homes to learn with their teacher because we were all quarantined up in our houses and there was no school being held. So the pandemic was a great time for online ESL. That is when I got massive paychecks, massive bookings. I could turn on slots and they would get booked. It was a great time for it because the kids in China or wherever you were home too. So they were taking more classes because what else are you going to do? So we have the first era of the new pioneers and then the scam era. They're kind of looped together. And then we have the pandemic era, which, was great for any sort of online education. And then as the pandemic started ending, China updated their laws. They said a lot of things, but some of the main takeaway points are students could not take classes after there was a certain time from their houses, and they couldn't take classes on the weekends or the holidays. And if they did take English classes, it could not be from a foreign teacher. So they wanted someone who was like in China that they had vetted or whatever they did. So essentially, and a fifth one was it couldn't be from a for-profit company, which was, everybody. So it shut down the online education industry. I remember in October, I was active with VIPKid. I didn't really open slots because I didn't need to, but I was on their email list. And I was active, I still am, with VIPKid. And I remember when VIPKid sent an email just one morning saying, okay, we're done. All your classes have been canceled. Bye. Like, what? We all knew it was coming, but it was kind of flip-flopping as to when it would happen. And VIPKid was the same thing. I remember weekend classes got canceled first, and then holiday classes got canceled first. And then all of a sudden it was all my future classes. And there were some kids I didn't get to say bye to. Like if you saw my reel where my kid flipped me off, I didn't get to say bye to her. And some of my students didn't even know what was happening. I would say, hey, is this our last class together? They were older students. They knew, like high school. And they're like, no, what are you talking about? And it was. So it's really sad. So there are still some classes happening on VIPKid, and it's mostly, if it is a kid, it's either they're working a back door in China or it's a student from another country. And VIPKid has also opened like an adult side. They never used to teach adults, but now they are. They have like an adult free speaking course. But a lot of times it's kids logging on. And so that's a hard class to get through because it is an adult topic that you're trying to teach a child. And, it just hits different when you're an actual adult. So this brings us to the doom era, I like to call it. This is when everyone was scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, right? We all lost our either main money source or our extra source of cash. And whether you needed it or it was extra, it was missed. And money aside, we missed our students. Most of us did this because we considered it to be fun. I thought it was fun. It was easy. I got to teach. I didn't have all the extra. So this was just, mentally it was hard because I didn't have a ton of time to find a backup. So that is when teachers got scrappy. So they found different platforms or they went off on their own. So for me, I found a different platform. It wasn't with ESL. It was with, it's a company that tutors for math. And what happens, if you haven't heard me talk about it, is I work for this company and they create the lessons and I log into the school and I have my small group of students that we work on math for 32 minutes to an hour or more, kind of depending on the age group that you're doing. I tend to stick with elementary school where it's mostly 30 minutes. And other teachers, they became completely independent. So as an online ESL teacher, you're an independent contractor, but they went completely independent and they started their own like independent contractor business. So they created their own websites, their own curriculum. They found their own students. They found their own way to get paid. And some of them did that with their Chinese students through WhatsApp. Is that what it was? WhatsApp? WeChat. And WeChat's really hard to get into if you haven't tried. I never really had an interest, but I did have some parents holding up their QR code. Like, so they did have outside communication with their students where they were able to kind of pull them in and kind of backdoor it that way. But I never felt comfortable with that. It just kind of felt just not okay to me because we never know where the military is going to send us, and I doubt it's China ever. But I might be close. I might want to visit someday, and I just didn't like it. So some teachers became independent. Some teachers went to completely other things. A lot of teachers have gone back to the classroom. That was something that I still keep my teaching certificate. It is a backup plan if we ever need it. But the way our near future is looking, it's looking like it's okay. And I don't want to go back. My husband's okay with me not going back as long as I am bringing in some extra money because I do still owe on student loans. Let's not talk about that and that verdict getting ready to come down in a couple months. We still owe a couple years on our car payment. So this just kind of helps bridge the gap between those bills, and it gives us some extra fun money. Like we're talking about a Disney cruise this Christmas, and it'll help pay for that. So now that teachers have gotten scrappy, online education is a lot more common in schools. So there's like my instance where I go into schools to tutor. And I know of other companies that do the same thing. They find the teachers and they push them into the schools virtually so that they can do their thing. I know of also a reading company that does that. And that's it. And then there's also like schools have virtual campuses. So if there's students that are homebound for whatever reason, maybe they're ill or a family member is immunocompromised, they were welcome there too. That was a couple years ago. I don't know how common it is this year, but on top of that, there's the homeschooling sector where you can push yourself out and work there too. So through all of these eras, we have gone from scammy to it's great to doom and gloom to things are looking up again. So we are in the things are looking up again area. I know that a lot of people are looking at online education. And according to Forbes, I did want to mention this. I found an article on Forbes.com that says even before the pandemic, research and markets forecast the online education market as 350 billion by 2025. And this was before the pandemic. I don't think they've updated their research. So I'm curious to see what it's going to look like when that research is updated, because while we did see a giant boom with the online education industry during the pandemic, it has kind of shrunk back down to size. If you want to think about the housing market a couple of years back, where like during the pandemic, when there was just like a giant boom, and now it's kind of shrunk itself back, and we're kind of right. But online education, I think, is kind of in a comfortable spot right now. So I'm curious to see what their research will be when it comes back out, and I'll keep an eye out for that to keep you updated. But with all that being said, if you want to start teaching online, whether it's ESL or non-ESL, I would love to help you out. I've got two videos, the best ESL platforms and the best non-ESL platforms for you. And I also have a live training. It is not currently out because I am live, but if you want to get on the wait list for it, I will give you an email as soon as it goes live again. onlineteacherallison.com/get hired. It's the 5 tips to help you get hired as an online ESL teacher that are better than the ones I mentioned in this video. And I use them during my interview, and I use them throughout my classes, and I actually have clips of me using them in classes, so you can kind of see how it's done. It's a little easier to see how it's done that way. They're short clips, okay? So I cannot wait to see you in some of our in the freebie or in the live class, and I hope you're having the greatest week, and we will chat soon. Bye.